Hi everybody. How are you? Let me get you up on YouTube so I can see everybody. That's not. I was watching a tutorial on making a bracelet before I started, so that was on there. Okay. Let's go. You're here. Thank you. You had some awesome stuff tonight at your sale, Miss Cindy. So, I just knocked my crackers on the ground. Let's see. Last week, I got my Medine 24 water count premium watercolor. And so I haven't opened them. I won them on Temu playing a game. So I was kind of excited to get them. They're nice. They say they're premium. They do say transparent, bright, good dispersal. And that means when you put the pigment into the water and they spread like that. And it says good light fastness. And then they show you on the back all the colors. There is 24 in here. I only have a 20 count, and I'm not going to put the blue and titanium white in, or black, I mean. The titanium white is technically a gouache. There is no white in watercolor. And the black, depending on which black it is, it's probably a gouache too. And then it doesn't have, it has yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is usually there they are. Ooh, they're nice big tubes, 12 mils. Let's see. Gouache just means that it is watercolor gouache. It just means that it's not transparent. It's opaque. So there are even gouaches that are watercolor because they're transparent, and that's not what they're supposed to be. And there are watercolors that are gouache that are not transparent, that are opaque. So you swatched. Oh, you haven't swatched yours, but you have put them in a palette. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, that's one reason I waited till tonight, was so you guys could watch. I know you're thrilled watching me put them in a palette, and then I don't know. It depends on how I feel if we'll do more. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there'll be an extra. So what do we have here? We have burnt umber and raw umber. So we'll automatically, I always throw out, I don't throw them out, I just keep them in a drawer. The tubes, usually with my gouache. So then that puts us down to 22. I have one of these cheap palettes. And so if I have extra colors, you can use hot glue and make wells yourself. Or I will probably just put one up. Well, if I need white or black, I always put them up in here. So I may just put 2 down here or something. We'll figure it out as we go. Ouch. And let's see. They have them in this order, which is fine. Oh, sorry. I'm coming right back. I'm coming. I don't know why it turns off my camera when I hit the table, but it is. Okay, what I was saying is my browns go at the end. Yellow ochre, it depends on who's putting together your thing. I don't know why. I have to do this, though. Let's see. So I got Prussian blue, pale purple. That doesn't look very pale. Burnt umber and raw umber. Technically, you probably don't need both those if you're putting together a palette. You wouldn't need both of those. Burnt sienna, I put down here with these. That's why I do this ahead of time, usually. Oh, and this says mauve, but it's a purple, and I know it's classified as a red, but it doesn't matter to me. That's not how I'm going to do it. So what green is that one? That says light green. That one I might put up because I may not use that one as much. I don't use, I always use my greens, but I mix them. So what was this? Oh, this was mauve. So I'm putting that one. Yeah, because that's where, I'm putting my Prussian blue. I put all my blues together. And I'll put my mauve before that one and then that. Usually yellow ochre for most people's palettes goes down here with the other neutrals. I like it up here in my yellows because I use it as a yellow. So that's how we'll start. So it's a cheap palette. That's fine. I don't know how much I'll use these. I put on what it is. I put what I left out, black and white. On the bottom, I write the date and the information. And then I make a swatch card. I was just about finished. That's why I was late. I wasn't paying attention. So I measure the palette. So this is how I do it. I take a piece of paper and I set it on it. And I used a 9x12, I think. So I set it on it and then I just traced around it, put the dots where the pans were for it. And it is a little smaller. So there is one on each side that's a little bit smaller. I do that in pencil because I'm not talented enough to do it in Sharpie first off. And this is fairly nice paper, actually. Usually I use a Strathmore or a Canson paper, 140 pound though. Sometimes I'll write that on here. So then I have all these and I will go through and I will write the name on each of them to correspond with when you open it. If the card was sitting here, the swatches would line up with the wells. So you know what you're using. And then after it dries, so I let it dry for at least 24 hours. And then I come back and put tape over it, clear or laminated. I have a laminator too that my husband found at a thrift store. It was brand new. It's beautiful laminator. And you can laminate it. But if you don't have a laminator, which I did for years, just use packing tape, clear packing tape, and it's usually 2 strips. Sometimes it's more. And do both sides. On the back side, write any information you want, like the kind of paper you swatched it on, or any of that information you want that's not necessarily. Hey, Shelby. Well, Cindy, that's a long story. We went in because we thought he had gallstones. And so we were prepared for, you might have to remove the gallbladder, which my daughter's having done, and his sister and her husband had done earlier in the year. So that's what we were prepared for. And then the doctor came in and she said she had some difficult news to tell us, and that they found a tumor on his liver. So she said that it is probably cancer, but we can't diagnose it until you do a biopsy. So tomorrow we're going to see his primary care doctor in the morning, and he'll give us all the referrals and get us started on what needs to be done. Obviously, it's a fast track so that if it is cancer, which is the high probability, unfortunately, they can start the treatment and take out the whole thing and do all that stuff. So that's where we're at. Thank you. I appreciate all your prayers. We will definitely take them. It's like I said, you go in and you're prepared to hear one thing. I thought she was going to tell us, well, we're going to have to take out something, but I wasn't prepared for the C word. So we'll see how it goes. Tomorrow we'll get all that stuff. So it'll be interesting. It's definitely a journey that we're on. So I'm getting by this evening. Lay down. And then my dog, when we gave home, my purse was on the ground and they knocked it over. And this is a pencil pouch it was expensive. It was a gift from my daughter. It's a leather one by Patricia Nash. So they run like $65. I know she got it at a great price and all, but look what my dog did. He ate out that, and he ate the tab that was back here, the tab off that, and all for a mint, because the only things in there is mints. He had food. I'm assuming it was my German Shepherd that did it, Mix that did it. So yeah, I'm not real happy with him at the moment either. He gets very passive aggressive when I come into my studio, and he feels that he's being left. Even though there's a huge space for him and he can lay there or right out in the hallway. So, little shit skis. So I wasn't very happy with that. Now, what we have to figure out, because this will be 10. Oh, no, that's 10. I took 2 out. So that would be what 10 would look like up there. I tend not to want to separate my greens. So then we'd have an extra one up here. So I could leave the burnt sienna up there where they put. I know that'll confuse me. So I guess my greens will start up here. It isn't rainbow order. With watercolors, people don't understand, but you have to, the tradition is you work light to dark because it's transparent. You can't cover up mistakes, and you want your painting to be light and ethereal and airy and, all of that. Totally butt pup, yes. So that's why I lay them out yellows, oranges, reds, green. That's how come I do it that way. And that's the way I was taught in college. Well, actually, I was taught that probably in middle school if I did watercolors. And traditionally, I think praying is laid out like this too. So it's just the way people do it. I don't know why, but it is. So now that I know, that that's mine, I will probably put, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I will probably put raw umber and that light green. I will probably put them over here and here. I'm not sure yet. I have to think about it. So we'll get started. It's really easy. Usually the tubes aren't open when you get them, which is nice. Now, I live in Colorado, and it came up a mile high to get to me. So sometimes they explode. I didn't hear a pop. Oh, that's good. No pop. There isn't a lot of the binder on top, and then you just press it in and do that. Oh, yeah. Everybody does it their own way. You are the one using that palette, so you do it however you want. I was just going ahead and doing this one in one of these cheap palettes. One, I may send it to a friend that she likes to do watercolor, and I know she's out of a lot, so I'll show you. You stick it in. Oh my gosh, maybe we'll get out without. One of your browns was a bit hard. Ooh, they are a little. Yeah, and you can see the creamy consistency isn't quite the same. So this one was, what was this one? Yellow pale is what they called it. And I will put these back in as I do them because I have to write down the names. This one is rattan yellow. This looks like a golden yellow or yellow orange. So that second one, ooh, these are really firm in there. How much you fill them up depends on how you like to work. I like to fill them up and leave part of the top here because it's tipped. So it gets deeper down here. It's like a swimming pool. It has the shallow end and then the deep end. I like to fill most of the deep end here, and then I tail off. That way I can pull my brush through it and mix it, and you can get big brushes in it. It's interesting how solid they are. I don't know if that's because the paint actually is solid or if it's just the tube itself is. And the other thing is with plastic, like this is plastic, try not to mess your paints up like that, because it will seal your cap. And then I use my teeth, which is not what you're supposed to do. I can't get the cap on. Where'd it go? Did it go back in? Oh, it went back in. How funny. They have a chance of, as they dry out, they will shrink. Oh, yeah, because I think it's just a thick tube. I think that seems to be where we're at, which is fine. Because it doesn't seem like it's overwhelmed with that. But they will dry out and get, they may crack and fall out. They don't have a lot of, or they have a lot of binder and filler in them, because they're not like the high-end paints, obviously. I think I don't know, Cindy, do you know what you paid for them? I think that they're like $12 or $16, somewhere in that range. I think I saw on Amazon that they were $24 or something. So they're not the cheapest, but they're not the, ooh, that one came out so nice. Vermilion. So let's see. Now we got Scarlet. $15.98. Okay, yeah. So see, I was glad I won mine. I don't need any more paints, guys. Honestly, I don't. Do I want more paints? Yes. I even want some new ones I've learned about the last couple days. But alas, I'm not doing that. We'll have medical bills. Yay. Okay, Rose Violet. This happens to be a color I use a lot. Now, these don't, like on higher end brands, they will have the pigment numbers on here. So that's what pigments they use. And it'll be like a PY or a PR or whatever, P something. And that's for pigment, and then red or pigment yellow or whatever. And then it will have stars or pluses and minuses or something like that. And that will tell you how light fast it is. And that's a year scale. They were $17.98. Cool. Yeah, what Meaden was originally known for were their palettes. Close, why aren't you charging? You should be charging, Fode. Okay, there you go. Oh, so I lost you there. It seems I can't. Let me take out. Okay. Did anything die? Nothing died. My phone's not charging now, though. Let's see if I can. I may lose you just for a second again. Ah. Hi. Went to the wrong camera. Yes, I look terrible today. Sorry. No, I need settings. And that's funny. It went back to that camera. All right, there. It's on my down camera now. So usually you will see that, and it's a standard setting. It's standardized for the amount of years at how light fast they are. Now I have watercolors that I know I did not do with light fast stuff when I was a kid, and they still look good. A lot of them see, this one exploded all by itself. He was ready to come out. Apparently he was like, I never get to be with red and oranges, so I'm excited. Oh, that's right. I was going to put him down there. Well, crap. That means my 2 burnt embers will be, that's fine. Oh, I got paint. This is why I shouldn't work before I come on air, because my hands are trash. See, I was trying to outline something and my micro pen didn't work. So I tried it on my skin because that's how I learned to make sure the felt tip was going. Yes, not. Okay, so my next dilemma is, do I go left or right down here again? But I have the green there, so I will probably go from this end and go down. Although, will that confuse me? Yes, that will confuse me. So I'm going to go left or right, even down here. Ooh, this green is like juicy, McJuicy. That's sap green. That's one of my favorite colors. This is, I also like yellow green. Oh, I keep getting yellow on everything. Oh my gosh. I am a disaster. And if somebody told you that watercolor doesn't stain permanently, they're wrong. I have pairs of jeans that I had for years, and believe me, they got worn and they still had remnants of watercolor because I'd use, if I was out painting somewhere or if I was downstairs. Ooh, that's a pretty, that's like 80s teal there. What color did they say this one was? Phthalo cyan. Usually those are two different colors, phthalo green and cyan green, but that's okay. I like that color. So we got cerulean blue. That's a normal color name too. Oh, see the blue's exploding. I tell you what, I have that problem. I get some really nice paints that you pay, like for a tube this size, you could pay up into the $50 range, and they'll explode and waste paint. That's why I don't open them until I'm ready to put them somewhere, because I don't want to waste any of it. This is cobalt blue. That's a really pretty turquoise. Cerulean isn't usually quite as turquoisey as that. Ooh, that was runny. What one was that, cobalt? It's funny because that cobalt looks more like ultramarine than the ultramarine does. So, ooh, that ultramarine looks, huh. Well, here, I just want to see something. Oh no, it colors down. Ultramarine isn't usually so dark. So I put that on my hands. These are all certified to be, according to the American Art Association standards or whatever, whoever monitors that. There's a specific initials for it. They're supposed to be safe. So I wouldn't, if you're doing that, I would definitely not put things like cyans on there, or what other colors? Well, any of them that are usually you find in hues, because they do have toxic chemicals in them. Hold on. That was cerulean, cobalt, ultramarine, Prussian blue. We're doing pale now. Huh, I got out of order. Talking and doing stuff. So that's all you do, or at least that's how I fill mine. You unplug them. Ooh, that one popped too. See, it's coming out. And then you take them and then you fill, you push and fill at the same time. Oh, and I was telling you that, you know, they will more than likely crack and fall out and stuff. You can use, what's it called? I can't think. I'll think of it. Some people actually use honey. Make sure you use raw honey that's unprocessed. If you're going to do that, there are lots of watercolors that have honey as the binder. But then there are also, I'll think of it. I can't think of it right now. My mind's not on it. So I'm going to stick my burnt umber over here. Oh, gosh. Did I get it open? Ooh. Oh, Cindy. Maybe this was the one I'm sorry. I'm going to have to squirt. Oh, it's just crawling out there. That looks like the snakes that you used to light at 4th of July. That's definitely not going to stay in there. But you could buy the watercolor fixative and you can add it to your paints. Whoa, this one is so dry. I stuck my hand in the yellow again. So it's very dry. I'm going to retake the top where the pointy thing is, and I'm going to put it in there again. And I'm going to really screw it down and try and wiggle it so it opens that spot. Oh, that helped. Not really that much, but it did help some. That's not gonna, I'm gonna have to squirt that or something. But they do have watercolor ground too that you can use. Okay, that's this one. That was the burnt umber. Oh, please, raw umber. Don't be such a pain in my butt. Okay. I got that open pretty good. That one was the hardest. And I think I'm going to put this one in this corner. Ooh, that one came out really good. I'm going to put that one in that corner. That way, if I kind of mix, they won't go into each other. This one's barely even coming off on my finger. And that looks like something you don't want on your finger. So I have that like that. So how I do that on my color chart. Oh my goodness gracious. So I'm going to put these aside because one, I keep sticking my hand in them, but two, I don't need them right now. So on my color chart, what I will do is over here in the corner, I'll do a corner thing. So I just put one thing in there and I'll put burnt, which one was it? Burnt umber down here. Burnt umber, and then I'll do a second one, and that was raw umber, right? Yep. And I'll put raw umber, which I will probably use. I don't typically like burnt umber. Well, it depends on which thing I'm in, but I like true rich browns, not dirty browns. So I know this is up in the right corner and this is down at the bottom corner. Otherwise, when I do it, I'm going to turn this up this way. You can't see the tube colors. I can't read the first one. So I have yellow pale. So I'll put yellow pale here. Then I have, rattan. Yellow. Usually I can write small enough to get all the name in there. Yellow ochre. I don't write straight though, obviously. Orange. That's generic as you can get. What's next? Oh, vermilion, which I never spell right. It's only got one L. Scarlet. Rose, what is it? Rose violet. I know this is like watching paint dry, literally. Ha ha ha. Crimson Lake. Crimson Lake is a name of an actual, like a typical paint. Crimson Lake. Then I have what? This weird green, light green. Light green. Oh, I didn't put what they are. Whedon. Premium. Watercolors. $24 set. Okay. That way I know which one it is. So now we'll do the, I need to read what this tube is. Like, that's almost impossible to read. Lemon yellow. Oh, I almost put that down because that's what I thought it might be. Lemon yellow. That also is a name of a paint. So we got sap green, deep green. So I write it down here at the bottom again. Some people will write it at the bottom and then at the top. Other people will write it, they will turn their card so that these are all going this way and then turn their card so these are all going this way. The reason I make them all going the same direction is because when I'm looking at it and it's comparing it to my palette, I want to be able to read them all. If you can read upside down, I can. It doesn't matter, but you do it however you like. I'm just giving you options, and that's all mine is too. I am not the watercolor police. I'm not going to come arrest you if you don't do it my way. Because in the end, it doesn't matter. Okay, I was spelling that right. I am the worst speller. I don't know how many times. P-H-T-H-A-L-O, right? Yeah, A-L-O. A-L-O. Phalo. Oh, yeah, that's right. This one was the triple names. Does it have an A after it? Oh, it comes with an A, not an I. Cyanide. I-N-N-E, green. And I just put Jan because I know it's green. Okay, cerulean. Oh, I can't spell this one either. In college, you had to spell them right. They gave us a test. I was like, oh, yeah, that won't work very well for me. Cerulean blue. That one, if your brown was like that too, what one was it? It was the burnt umber. That one just has bigger particles. And so they put the same amount of filler in all of them or binder. And this just has larger particles. So you have to increase the I call it the dose, but you increase the amount you put in it if you were making it by hand. So that doesn't surprise me. Cobalt blue. Ultramarine blue. That one I'll have to do 2 rows. Ultramarine blue. And the M isn't capitalized. It's all one word, but I always write it that way. That's why I say don't do it my way. And you get used to how you do it. And it's really, like I said, I was really going to be hard for me to like switch that. Although it is weird for me to see a green on the top level. Prussian blue. Then we have pale purple. You just get used to it. So you know, you don't even think when you're reaching them. When I was painting like for school and I was teaching and I used them every day. Although I'm getting to the point where I do use them every day. Is this burnt sienna? Yeah. If I was using the same palette, I could just tell you by looking at them what they were. I didn't have to look at a card, and you get used to it. But I have like 25 different palettes. Shh, we're not telling anyone that. That's shameful. Okay. And these come in this box and it has the top over it. I won't keep them in this box. I use the, well, they don't sell them anymore, I don't think, but Dollar Tree had clear acrylic containers that were perfect squares, and they were about 2 inches. Is that 2 inches? I don't know. 3 inches, about 3 inches tall, and they had a lid and you could stack them. And so I bought those for every type of paint that I had. And then I bought like 5 or 10 extra. And then as I get new paints, I keep them in there. Now, lots of people will keep their paints by colors, and they'll just throw all their tubes of yellows together and all of their tubes of oranges together and all their tubes of red. They'll usually have 2, and one will be warm red, which means it has more yellow in it, and cool red, which means it has more blues in it. And they'll separate out like that's how they do it. Because I was teaching and doing stuff, I kept mine by company. That way people could see. Oh, and I want to. That way people could see what I was using, and I could show them, whatever. Now, the next thing I do is I take a large Sharpie. This is actually, I don't know, touch Touch Raven. It is permanent marker number 9500. I got these off Temu, and I got like 5 or 10 of them for less than, like, probably about $3. And so I have liked them. And the reason I put this line here, I don't always do it online, but sometimes I do. And it's smart too. Oops. So that you can see, I went crooked. I don't like that very much. And I'll just put a line there and a line here because those are odd. So you put that line there. The reason I do that is you can see how transparent your paint is. Lots of times I don't even care. You know, it's not like something I think about. But it's good to know. What brush is this? That's a nice brush. Oh, these are by Rosemary and Company. That's a like a designer something, and they put out their own brushes. It's number 12 cat's tongue, so it's round. I am going to use my clean water for this. I don't know if I've ever even used this brush. If I'm well, there was a couple art stores that went out of business, so I just did them. I just would buy stuff when they were going out of business because I knew I'd use it. So let's see. You don't need to see my water. You probably want to see this. How am I going to do that? I have it up pretty high today. Okay. So I'll have it over there. And I'm not on the thing. I don't think so. So first is lemon yellow. These are wet, so you don't need a lot. Actually, they're drying pretty quick. You want to make sure you got a good true color on there, though. So I've got quite a bit on my brush. And you can do it however you want. I put it down so it's the actual straight color right at the top. Then I usually wipe it off on my brush. Oh, God, how do I have paint all over me? So my brush is pretty much clean. And then I have water in it, and I just pull it down. I want some more so that you could see kind of how there. You could see how pale it will go. So, yeah, you want to. That's called a gradation. I'm sure you knew that, but anyway. So now I make sure that all the yellow is out of my brush. And I go to the next one, which is yellow pale. Yellow pale. I think I wrote it backwards. Isn't that hysterical? I do that and not even know. It's from my head injuries. Oh, I should have skipped it. Okay, so you don't want them to run into each other. So I'm going to be over here. And I'll pull it down. These don't have as much pigment in them, and it's hard for me to get enough on here. So there. I actually got graded on how I did a gradient. You had to do it live. You know, it was one of those kind of tests. These paints are pretty dry. That's kind of weird. These may be the kind of paints that you could use right out of the tube. And I know that there are people that paint right from the tube. They always do that. And that's okay. That's a different way to paint. It used to be said that you did use as much paint, but hi, Amy, how are you? I use as much paint, whether I use my tube and pull it out and have fresh paint on it or not. So it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of what you get used to. I like having my palettes, and I like being able to, oops, I caught some. Was that yellow ochre? Yeah. See, yellow ochre is very, that is about as opaque as you're going to probably get in these watercolors, just because of the kind they are. But see how that line's telling me how much I can and can't do? I cannot believe how dry these are already. I do have a fan on. It was very cool today. This is just orange. And it's only 63 right now. And there was a breeze, which is really nice. Usually in Colorado, we don't get a good breeze. Ooh. Oh, oh, no, 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 no. Okay, so I'm going to pull this off. So now you know, always assume that red is going to stain your paper and you won't be able to get it back. I'm going to skip that one. That was the vermilion, orange vermilion. So whenever I skip, whenever I skip like that, I'll go back to the other end that you're closest to and work backwards for two reasons. One, hoping that that'll be dry by the time I get there, but two, to make sure I don't skip something. I have ruined my clean water, which is okay. I didn't. Oh, no, it's not, because I can't do that one thing I was going to show you. So yeah, these aren't highly pigmented, but you know, they're good. Oh, I'm going to be sorry I did this. I already know. Okay. I'm going to leave those. Oh, I could do scarlet. So that was that one. This is rose violet. Hold on. Something happened here. See, that's why I do this. Oh, that's rose violet and this is scarlet. Okay. Reds always will stain. There's almost not a red that won't stain. So you just need to assume it's going to stain. Okay, so now we're down to, oh, that yellow and I are having problems. I stuck my finger in it again. Let's see, I got that pretty. I have it set up, so I'll show you. So it's sitting up like that against a container, but they're not going to run down because they're pretty dry. So let's see, I have burnt umber next, which is this one. Remember, it was the really dry one we got. So I'm working it pretty hard. Ooh, that's not a bad color, actually. So I got that one spread out pretty good. Then I got you over here, which is the raw umber. And it's pretty dark. I usually use raw umber instead of burnt, but you can see that the burnt is granulating, which means that the colors come apart. So this burnt umber may granulate a little bit. And that's always nice to know. And right now the thing is granulation. Everybody wants granulating stuff. I don't necessarily like granulating, so it doesn't matter to me. So I've started over here and I'm starting at the top again. I should have put burnt umber with the oranges. This burnt. Oh, yeah, it's burnt umber. Called it. I have raw burnt and then that other one. What was that other one? Kristin, you made a mistake. Oh, it's burnt sienna. I put burnt umber. I'll have to redo that when it dries. Although I do have burnt umber in there. So making grids and stuff like that is really hard for me. Following patterns, that's something I'm not able to. My brain doesn't do that very well at all. Even when they're laid out like this. So I know this isn't probably what you can. Okay, so after we do this, ooh, that purple is good. I got to the wet part of that. That purple's good. And I told you I pulled mauve out. Oh, you can't see because I moved it again. I don't know if there's a way to fix. Oh, I can do it this way here. I pulled the mauve out from the red because look, mauve is purple in watercolor. These may be good ones to use wet because these are wetter than the top ones, and they are giving you a better color payoff, better color load. And until you play with different kinds of paints, you probably won't notice that. I know that the first time I was in school and they said that, I'm like, they all have the same kind. They don't. It's just like markers. Or if you like colored pencils have different loads too. When you're using them, you can feel some of them are harder and softer. Let's try out this cerulean. This one I was really excited for. Give me some good color. I like a good turquoise because I like bright apple green and turquoise together. So there we go. Okay, this Phthalos cyanide green was the one that this is the one that I said was, ooh, it's not coming out that way. Out of the tube, it looked like it was going to be a more teal color. There we go. They're kind of like jellyfishes is what you want to make when you're doing these. But you could do them however. I just think they're the best that way because you could see how much they're. Ooh, I like this one. This is deep green. Greens, I know lots of people blues are their favorites, but greens are my favorites. Greens and reds and yellows. Let's see, sap green should be sap green. And I put it on really creamy because it was creamy. So I'm going to go back up here and I'm adding water to it because I want it to be like you would paint with it. And I'll go down here. So I just let this all dry and I'll have to go back and do those two that I didn't and fix the raw sienna, burnt sienna. Okay. So I do like this brush. I would Rosemary Company and 12. I don't even know if they're still around, but I did like that brush. So let me see. Where's my, it was right in front of me. So I will show you. I went to a lady here in town or in the metro area had a meetup class or a meetup group, and she was having people over to her house on last Saturday to paint for like 2 or 3 hours. She has her basement set up totally as a studio. And this was one I had drawn this out last Monday. So I took it with me. So what I did, you could see all the different colors I added. I don't have my light on. Sorry, guys. And it was looking pretty good. I liked it. I loved, like here, look at the effect. That's called bloom. Well, that's not, but that's the yellow. Oh, so I put down the yellow and then I put the orange. I dabbed it in and it was wet and it pulled it up and it looks like veins because it was the perfect. Oh, no, don't do that. It was the perfect consistency. Not too dry, not too wet. So I loved that. I mean, that was beautiful. This one turned out really good too for a different reason, but the colors migrated themselves perfectly in a gradient. So I loved that. The yellow kind of got lost up here and dulled because I have purple and blues here that drained into it. And then after it dried, when I got home, I wasn't real happy with it because I was like, and it didn't turn out like this was supposed to be one flower and this was supposed to be one flower. Then there were one flower over here and that's not what ended up happening, but that's okay. So first I started with, I drew the outlines for like the stems and the flowers, if that's what you want to call them. They're just shapes now, but it alludes to them being a plant life down here. So I went over and did that, and I didn't outline them like solid heavy lines. I jiggled and wiggled. So if you have a trimmer, this is perfect way to use it. And I did a couple lines for each of them just because that makes it more organic looking, I think. And then I decided that I did want my flowers to still be that flowery. So it alluded to that up here. So I went in and put petal shapes. I did not do petal shapes all over like this one doesn't have any outline in it. That's fine. And I always put dots on everything. So I had dotted this flower and I went back and added more dots of different shapes. And this is my favorite part right here of the whole thing. Love it. So then I added dots over here and I added dots where a drip didn't go and I wanted one. For those drips, all I did was I stood my paper up. I went like this. And so you got drips. And then I turned it over because I didn't know which way it would go and did dips that way. but it looks like the drips are coming down here. So I added dots to it all. And then that wasn't enough. Like it didn't fill it in. So I started here. You might be able to see. Yeah, you could see it. There was a leaf there that I didn't like. So I went in and added lines. And the lines balance. I'm going to turn it sideways and move my water so I don't spill it. But there's the whole picture. And the lines balance out the picture. They cause your eye to go with it. Because I didn't have the lines over here. This line and this lines were the last ones added. So that's what I did with that. I'm pretty happy with it. I was going to show you how I mat it, but I didn't bring all that in and my hands are too dirty. If you're going to mat, you either need to wear gloves or make sure your hands are clean. So I might do that next week, or I might just do a short on it or something. This is a really odd size because and that was the other thing I was going to tell you. This is a really odd size because the paper I bought, what did I do with it? I don't see it. This paper is Legion paper, 100% cotton. Oh, here, I put it down here. Oh, Layton. Sorry, I gave you the wrong name. So this is a watercolor block, which means that there's glue all around it. And you have one face up on top that you stick a knife or something under there, something flat that you can cut it off. So I taped around it. I always do. I'm a chronic taper because you used to stretch your watercolor papers back in the day. I don't stretch anything anymore. That's a antiquated system now. I got some of this from Temu, this tape, this masking tape that's thin. So I did that all the way around. But this is a 10.6 by 7.7 pad. So it is an odd shape. So I will lose part of that because I'll probably have to do a 9 by 7 on it, I think is what I'll end up doing. Not sure yet. Haven't come to the decision. This block of paper, it is 160 pound, which is not standard. This is from Japan, I think. And so that may be their standard. In America, our standards are 104. Well, in most of Europe are 140 pound, and then you go up to 300 pound. So it was fun to work with. This is awesome paper, guys. I really liked it. It is Layton and it's watercolor paper. It, like I said, 160 pounds, the 10.6 by 7.7, and it's 20 pages. I wrote it all on here. It's 20 pages, and I bought it on the 18th, and it was $18, $17.99. It was still that way Saturday when we looked it up. The other thing about this paper, which is unusual, is it is double-sided, which means that the sizing and the texture on the one side is exactly the same as the sizing and the texture on the other side. So, and this is so inexpensive that if you're practicing and you don't like this, you can flip it over and work on this side. And that's very rare. Usually they're different patterns. They roll them out usually in big presses. And so, or if they're handmade, they're separate patterns too. So, and there's no sizing usually on the back. So it's really good paper. I am excited that I found some because I'm putting together watercolor kits for a class that I'm going to release kits I'm going to release, and then I'll do the class on my website, which I'm working on. So either that or I'll put it up on Ko-fi or something. But so I'm working on that, and I wanted to give the people who bought it cotton paper to work on, because cotton paper by far is what they say true artists only work with cotton paper. But it's very expensive usually, and Arches is the granddaddy of them all, but it's very expensive. Great paper, totally worth it. But if you're very prolific, like Cindy, I know Cindy's very prolific and she does lots and lots of them. This cotton water paper is cheap enough that she's able to get true cotton water paper and then use it. One of the reasons you want cotton watercolor paper is so that you can get effects like that and these kind of gradations. Yes, I do too, but this was actually cheaper than the Temu one. That's why I went with this one. But yeah, it's like Bangkok or whatever. They sell it on Amazon too. I have some coming in an order. But I will definitely buy this block. So, and when you're working with cotton paper, you're able to scrub it and it won't ruin it. You will eventually, but you won't damage the fibers like you do in wood pulp. So that's the difference. So that's why people always say, oh, do you use cotton paper? And cotton paper is acid free, so that you're not going to have problems like that. So here, right here, is what I did last week with you. It's almost done. I've gotten the outlines in there, which you can't really see the outlines too much, except I got to add green right there because I made a leaf where no green is. And I used my new Posca pen. I bought a set of 3 for like $7 on Amazon. So this is the smallest one that they have, the 0.7. So it won't stay like that because it's a paint pen, acrylic paint, and it will, get fatter and fatter over time. But right now it's a 0.7. And then I also got these two. I got 0.9 to 1.3 millimeters, and then the bigger one, 1.8 to 2.5 millimeters. So I used that on here. And then I think that's it. I am not happy. I don't like the way it's spread. I like everything else, but I don't like the way it's finished around the circle. This was that Tivoli from, this is a 7-inch circle from Temu. How much did I pay for it? You get 24 sheets, and I paid $4.49 for it. Now I know it's higher than that now. I think I saw it at it's under $10 still. Anything if it's under $10, this paper's awesome. I have a little trouble with the circle platform. It's kind of a little. I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, I have packages of stuff up there. I didn't notice. I forgot I turned it that way. And you can't see the circle here. There. Now you can see the circle. So this cut of paper, I had never played with circles. And so it's a new platform for me, I guess would be a good way to say it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do once I pull this off. The girl asked me on Saturday how I was going to frame it. It's a 7-inch frame. I will probably either put it in a square 8x8 frame and float it. So this will be the only thing in there in between the glass, or I will put it in they typically do 8x8 and 10x10. So I will look at those and see which one of those I like. And I will probably float it. And I haven't signed it yet because it's not done, but I'll sign it probably. I'll go in the shape of the thing. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get some clear water so I can show you what I'm going to do. So talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I'm back with clear glass. I use this was a glass that we got, sugar skull glass we got at Dollar Tree several years ago, but I put them in the wash and wash them every so often. So I did like this brush. Let's see. Also, I absconded with blue shop towels from my husband's garage. He's like, why are you taking those? I'm like, don't you have others out there? He's like, yeah. Like, because I'm going to use these. These are lint free, which is nice. So it doesn't get on your brush, but they're also highly absorbent. So I am going to use them instead of paper towels. I'm going to see if I like it. So I have my watercolor brush and I'm pushing it down, and there's no color, which is what I was checking. So now, like I said, I don't like the way this looks. I think I will bring you in for a close-up. So I have a lot of only water on here, and I'm just gonna go around here. It may not move much because it's been sitting since Saturday. So, but I want it to kind of feather out more than, I don't know. I just wasn't happy with the way it looks. So I'm just adding water all the way around it. Oh, see up there, it did. Look up here, it moved a lot more. And this isn't cotton paper. This is just wood pulp. You can also get some that have 25% cotton in them. And those are nice too. They give you more play. So I'm going around here, going around the edges. Some of them are not playing with me the way I want them to. I just want it more, I don't know, ethereal. I don't know what you call it. I may have to get the paint out and actually put paint on it because I like how dark it is. So now my paper is really wet, really, really wet. So I'm just going into where this is already and pulling pigment from it. Hold on, I'll get you back. Oh, I didn't know I had one more. There, I'll get you back. I've had this camera for like 2 years. You'd think I'd know. No. So. I also wasn't quite happy with my moon because it didn't have, I wanted it to look like the craters and stuff you see in the moon. They always talk about the craters and the lakes and all that stuff. So I may go in and add a bit more of that. Although I've had a couple people say that they wanted it. I'm like, well, I'm not sure yet. So I don't think I could actually take any more of the blue paint because it's getting kind of splotchy. I'm going to go in here a little bit. I don't want to touch the yellow. Now I have many, many layers of Prussian blue as the final one, but I have, oh, I didn't bring that palette. I used my Shin hand. That's S-H-I-N, capital S, and then capital H-A-N. And I have maybe a 24 set by them or a 36. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they're one of my favorite paint brands. They're a good price point usually on Amazon, and you can get them on sale occasionally. So they're one of my favorites. So I will probably have to pull out them again and add more paint. This still isn't looking how I wanted it to. So I'm going to take the water to the edge, which isn't what I wanted, but that's okay. I am not good at the blobs and stuff, but I don't want lines. I want it to fade kind of. So like here we have a line there and a line there. I'm not sure that's how I want it to look. So I've got so much water on here now. I'm not really, oops, hold on. No. Don't go into my moon there. I don't want green. So I will let this dry. Uh-oh, I have a dot. Water got dripped on it right there. So I'm going to make a very point. I'm going to take it in here and I'm going to move from the yellow to the green. That way I didn't ruin my yellow. I'm going to try some. Oh, I have green on there. Don't do that. I wonder what that'll do. The fibers are still wet in this, but like it's not wet. And you don't want, whenever you use a towel like this, I think you could see the pattern in there. Yeah, see, there's a pattern. And if you have a Bounty or whatever, you'll have even more of a pattern. I don't want a pattern in it, but I was seeing if I could lift off some of it and see what that did. Not much. So yeah, so that's where that's going to be. And I'm going to have to play with that some more. So one thing when I need to get lost in stuff, often I have to play with many different things so that I don't start thinking about stuff. So I have my like jewelry out down here too. So some of the new stuff I got this week for the sale. So I made a pendant. It has, I don't know, Sacred Heart, Thorny Heart. I don't know what they call it. That's a saint metal. And it was bright like this. And then I added Sharpie to it so you could see the lettering in there. And then on this side, I did Sharpie down in there. I'm not sure if I'll leave it black like that or if I'll go in and rub it off some more. But that's how you make something very, very shiny like that into something with some patina and some character, I think. I have a leather tassel thing, and then I had a hematite cross. So these are check glass, copper, hematite cross, and then a crystal. And I put them all on a loop because then I could either put it on a chain or a necklace or beads or something. So yeah, I tend to do a lot of components and stuff when I'm needing to relax and not think of things. So I'll bounce around quite a bit. So that was one of the things I was working on. Before you came in, I cut myself. So please be careful when you're using scissors in the way they're not supposed to be. Like holding them like this and cutting, because you will get a little bit of an owie. It's like a paper cut. And at the hospital, every time I used the alcohol, I thought I was going to scream because it hurt. It hurt. Oh, so this one is done. Oh, I know why I haven't signed it. I haven't signed it because I don't know where the mat is going to be. And I did have it taped off. You can see I had it taped off. That's how I got those perfect edges. So I think that's probably about all I'll do tonight. I'm going to go veg on my couch. And I have a bunch of beads for my sale on Thursday that I need to punch holes in the top so I can hang them on my pegboard. And so I'll probably go veg and watch a movie or something and do that. I think my husband might have gone to bed, which is good because he was just researching things that we don't need to think about right now. So if you have any questions about anything, please put them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. What else? I'm here every Monday night. I have my schedule up for September for Monday nights and Thursday, my virtual bead boutique. So I have that all scheduled. I did that this morning. And so I've got all that done. I don't know much else. There was something I was going to work on next week with you guys and here. But if you have anything you want to see me paint for sure or whatever, let me know. Put it in the comments. I can't promise I'll paint it, but I'll give it my best shot. And then if you have supplies or something that you wanted me to try out, so and let you know what I think of them, you can put those in the comments too, and I'll see. I do have new supplies that I haven't tried out yet that I'm going to start working with, but I was busy doing this, and we will paint with these next week probably. Oops, see, it's still wet. I put so much water on that one. So I'll probably try and paint with these, do some painting with these. That looks that's bugging me. That scarlet ran down. So I just pulled the water off that so I could see how it thins out. And actually, they're not looking too bad. They do have good transparency. That box was right. But I think that that's more because of the lack of pigment used in them. Pigment's what makes it expensive, paint expensive. So I think that's probably more of that than it is actually because the paint necessarily is. This one looks like it might be a little chalky. They probably put white in there, and white is always going to make things look a little chalky. But I do like this color. This one granulated some. That one might granulate a little. The yellows are very pretty though. And the Prussian blue, see, that's their Prussian blue. And that's what the top coat of this is. But you could tell there's other colors under it. I glazed it many times with cobalt and probably a cerulean or something close to that. So those are under it. So that all changes the color a little bit. Thank you. And thanks, guys, for coming by. Amy, I don't know if you saw it. Cindy was asking if you have a channel. If she does, Cindy, I'll look for it. And I can put it in the comments so that we can subscribe to her. I understand, Amy. So I do appreciate you guys coming. It's fun to have you come into my studio on Monday nights. And it helps me get my mind off things too. So I do enjoy it. And it keeps me creating and trying out new stuff. So I will see you guys Monday night in my studio next week. And that will be September. Can you believe it? I can't. So we will be in September next time I see you. Have a great week and take care of yourselves. It's a rough place out there.